What does it take for someone raised in the spotlight of one of reality TV's most famous families to finally look in the mirror and decide she is enough? Amy Duggar King, once known to millions as the outspoken crazy cousin on 19 Kids and Counting, has spent years navigating family drama, public scrutiny, and personal pain. Now she is opening up about a quieter but far more powerful journey, learning how to love herself. In a recent interview for Authority magazine's series on self-acceptance, Amy shared practical steps she took to silence her inner critic, protect her peace, and reclaim her worth. Her story is not just another Duggar update. It is a deeply personal look at healing after years of feeling small, silenced, and measured against impossible standards. Stay with me, because the details she revealed may surprise you, and they offer lessons that reach far beyond one family. Amy grew up as the only child of Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar's older sister, which placed her right in the middle of the large, tightly knit Arkansas family that captured national attention on TLC. For years she appeared on 19 Kids and Counting, often portrayed as the more independent relative who did not always fit the polished image the show presented. Behind the cameras, Amy has said she carried her own struggles with identity, self-worth, and family dynamics that left her feeling misunderstood. In recent years she has stepped further into her own voice. She appeared in the Amazon documentary Shiny Happy People, and in October 2025 she released her debut memoir, Holy Disruptor, shattering the shiny facade by getting louder with the truth. The book explores her experiences with dysfunction, emotional challenges, and the decision to break free from patterns that no longer served her. That same season she sat down for the Authority magazine interview that focused specifically on self-love. The conversation arrived at a moment when Amy has been reflecting publicly on healing, boundaries, and faith. What she shared offers a clear window into how she moved from harsh self-judgment to a steadier sense of acceptance. In the interview, Amy described a time in her early 20s when she looked in the mirror and disliked the person staring back. She felt small, weak, and constantly trying to measure up. Comparison and negative voices from the past had sunk deep. Over time she realized much of that noise was not truth. She began replacing harsh thoughts with kinder ones. "I'm learning, I'm growing, and God's still working on me" became regular responses to her inner critic. She started asking herself a simple question: would I say this to someone I love? If the answer was no, she stopped saying it to herself. That shift, she explained, changed how she saw her own value. Loving yourself, Amy said, sets the tone for everything else. When you treat yourself as a treasure, you begin to value your time and energy. You set boundaries. You stop settling for people or situations that hurt you. You take better care of your mental health. She has spoken about staying too long in relationships that felt dramatic because that was the only kind of love she had known. Real love, she learned, feels safe rather than exhausting. Forgiving someone who betrayed her was not for their benefit, she noted, but for her own freedom. The hard questions that followed helped her examine why she accepted less than she deserved and what healthy boundaries actually looked like. Amy also stressed the importance of solitude. As an only child she had grown used to quiet, and now she intentionally creates space to be alone. She described sitting on her patio with an iced coffee, feeling the sun and the wind, with no phone and no noise, simply reconnecting with herself and with God. That practice helps her remember who she is rather than who others expect her to be. Protecting peace became another key strategy. She used to say yes to everything, even when it left her drained. Learning to say no, she explained, is not mean. It is healthy. One example she gave involved turning down a family gathering she knew would create chaos. Instead she stayed home with her husband Dylan and their son Daxton, baking cookies, and dancing in the kitchen. That choice reminded her that peace is something she can choose. She also began celebrating small wins instead of waiting for big achievements. Finishing a chapter of a book, getting through a tough day, or choosing grace over anger all count. At one point she wrote a list of 10 things she actually liked about herself, from her sense of humor to the way she cares deeply. The simple act shifted her perspective. Finally, she stays connected to her faith. Prayer and worship music in the morning help ground her. When she loses sight of her worth, returning to the belief that she is loved by God keeps her steady. Throughout the conversation, Amy linked self-love to broader healing. She has been open about the impact of generational patterns and the decision to disrupt toxic cycles so her own family can experience something healthier. Her memoir and recent interviews show a woman who once felt silenced now using her voice to encourage others facing similar struggles. She has said that when one person chooses to heal, the effect can ripple outward to families and future generations. At the same time, she remains clear that her journey is ongoing. Growth continues. Perfection is not the goal. Authenticity is. Public response to Amy's recent openness has been largely supportive among those who follow her story. Many viewers and readers have expressed appreciation for her honesty about mental health, boundaries, and faith after years of watching the Duggar family from a distance. Some longtime fans of the original series have noted how far she has come from the crazy cousin label that once defined her on screen. Others connected with her practical tips on self-talk and solitude, saying the advice felt realistic rather than abstract. Media coverage around the book and the Authority magazine interview has generally framed her comments as part of a larger conversation about leaving unhealthy systems and finding peace. Of course, not every reaction is the same. Some online discussions continue to debate family loyalty and the decision to speak publicly about private pain. Amy has maintained a measured tone, focusing on her own growth rather than fueling conflict. The overall picture from interviews and coverage is one of cautious encouragement mixed with the usual range of opinions that surround any high-profile family story. Looking ahead, Amy has shared that she will be creating content for the YouVersion Bible app, developing studies that address difficult real-life topics. Her memoir continues to reach new readers, and she remains active in conversations about healing and faith. Viewers interested in her journey can watch for further interviews and updates as she builds on the foundation she has described. No major new announcements beyond those already reported have surfaced, so the focus stays on the steady work of living out the principles she has outlined. Amy Duggar King's recent reflections on self-love mark a meaningful chapter in her public story. From the young woman who once disliked her reflection to the mother and author who now celebrates small victories and protects her peace, the shift is clear. The practical steps she shared, speaking kindly to herself, creating solitude, saying no when needed, celebrating the ordinary, and staying rooted in faith, offer a straightforward path that many can recognize. Her willingness to discuss both the struggle and the progress adds depth to the ongoing conversation around the Duggar family and the individuals who have stepped outside its spotlight. What are your thoughts on this latest Duggar family update? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Duggar family update.